what happened was we met up at our meet spot by the Uwharrie National Wilderness Area. We got our bait, and actually we didn't get any bait. We got our tackle and any last minute items we needed, fishing license, etc. And we headed into the fucking wilderness. And we parked the truck, started walking, and we walked, I don't know, we walked a good ways.
Couple hours.
Yeah, along the side of the Uwharrie River, which I had only ever seen before in satellite imaging. And it turns out that thing's a little bit bigger than it looks from space.
In the satellite images, it looked like there were areas where you could step on top of the rocks and like skip your way across. And if you see rocks coming out of the river that you can walk across, probably the space between the rocks is only knee deep or so, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was not the case. No. When we got there, the rocks were not dry. They were covered by raging river. And thank you.
Yeah, tell us about that crossing. Tell us what was that.
All right. What happened there?
So from my point of view, I basically said, "Does this look like a good spot to cross?" And we kind of agreed that it was, and I took my sneakers off and put my mandals on that everyone likes to make fun of so much, and I started heading across. I got across, and I don't know, it probably took me 10 minutes to get across, and I realized I didn't have my phone. It had fallen out of my pocket on the other side of the river. So I made a walking stick, crossed back to the other side, and retrieved my phone plus about half of Woody's gear.
That's so unfair. That's so unfair because
It
was
unfair.
It was unfair for me to carry 50-pound pack on my back, and he's like, "Then I carried Woody's stuff," and by that he means like the bedroll.
I carried Woody's bedroll and a plastic bag full of other items, plus my phone and maybe something else. I carried that stuff across to the other side of the river once again, and then I started waiting on Woody to make his way, and he picked a walking stick that I would not have picked. Mine was about 5.5 feet long and pretty skinny, and his was about 3 feet long and really fat.
One might call it the thick six.
Yes, he pulled out a thick six and tried to navigate these rapids with it, and the current was really strong, guys. Like it's pushing against your legs, and every step you take is an unbalanced one. You feel like you're going to lose your footing, fall on the thing, and just get washed down river. So I crossed the river again and took Woody by the hand and led him back across. And finally, two of us were both on the same correct side of the river.
I didn't make a big deal out of the footwear on the subreddit, but I really think that because we crossed again at like, I don't know what time it was. I'm going to call it 2 a.m.
1 a.m.
Okay. But it was dark out. The river was even stronger because like it had started to like drizzle or something. And we did another river crossing, but this time, because we were headed home, I wore my shoes. Like I didn't care if they got soaked. And I walked across pretty much fine. It was the barefoot that actually made a big difference.
I didn't realize you were barefoot at the time. That would have made it rough.
Yeah, the rocks were like incredibly slippery, and it was. If I were to do it again, what I brought in terms of I brought hiking boots and I brought flip flops, like little rubber flip flops, and they're nice for hiking because they're so lightweight and you can just throw them in your pack or hang them on, and that's really where my experience was based in. But for this kind of thing, where you really only hiked a couple hours, then you intend to stay there for a week, I could have brought mandals like Kyle had because they were a better pick.
Optimal. So then we walked a bit further and we found our campsite. We went pretty high up as far as elevation, away from the rivers because we were expecting a couple of inches of rain the next day. And we started making our camp. We chopped down, I'm going to call it 30 trees. Started building our shelter, got our firewood established, and pretty much got our camp done. We also cut down a really big tree that fell right across.
I would say 30 saplings in a tree.
Yeah. We cut a big tree down with our bare fucking hands, pretty much.
Bare hands. There was no cutting of that tree.
I chewed that son of a bitch.
My testosterone level was rising just because I became such a macho badass as I cut down the trees. Carry on.
So we had our camp pretty well established, and we decided to walk back down to the river and cast our lines out there. And we did so, and I'm just going to skip to the end on the fishing part. We never caught a fish. Not one. Although I will say this, occasionally these big, beautiful, delicious-looking fish would jump clear out of the water and mock me.
That's exactly it. I think I saw one fish do this. Just throw that out there.
They were flying out of the water, just giving us the fuck you and swimming back away. It was terrible. And so we're getting pretty hungry at this point, and we would go back and forth between fishing and our shelter. We wanted to recast the lines, check them for food, etc., and then go back and start improving our shelter. And we got our shelter pretty well established. It just needed to be thatched up so that it was weatherproof. But we had the structure there, and we were down there fishing. And I look upriver about 250 yards, pretty much the same as meters for the rest of you guys.
Okay, carry on.
And there's what I don't know what they're called, but it's a stork. There's a stork up there. And I'm pretty sure these things are protected by some law, but I was really, really hungry. And so I'm like, I'm going to go kill that fucking bird and we're going to eat. So I grab Woody's rifle and I start running back up river. But I go into the forest a little bit so he doesn't see me coming. These things have really good eyesight, believe it or not. I get all the way down there. It's 250 yards. It's 500 feet. I run 500 feet in a roundabout way, and he's gone. And I'm just like, fuck. 250 yards is 750 feet. You were right. I run 750 feet. And this motherfucker is gone. And I'm like, shit. I was expecting food at this juncture. So I jog back to Woody, and I'm like, you're not going to believe it. I got there. He was gone. I turn around, I point back up river. I was like, he was right there. And there he is. He's back in the same goddamn spot. And I'm like, I'm gonna go kill that motherfucker. BRB. And so I start jogging again. I do the jog again. Get down there. He's gone. I shit you not. Now I'm just
a mirage story.
No, it's a smart bird story. So I jog all the way back. So now I've jogged 3,000 feet, over half a mile. I jog all the way back.
Oh wait, maybe it is 3,000. Yeah, back. Yeah, okay, 3, carry on. My mistake.
And I'm like, Woody, you're not gonna believe it. He was gone again. And I look downriver, 250 yards, and there the motherfucker is.
Yeah.
And
then he comes flying by.
Yeah, as we point at him, he takes off, makes this big looping circle, and goes back to where we originally saw him. And I was like, all right, we're not capable of dealing with him. Now, he's too smart for us. We can't handle him. If I'd had a more high-powered rifle, like a 5.56, I'd have totally sniped him out. It'd been done. But we didn't. So then I'm like, these fish aren't working. I don't see any crayfish. There's nowhere really to build those fish traps we talked about. Well, it's turtle time. Mm-hmm. We're going to eat those turtles that keep popping up for air in the river.
Mocking us with the fish.
Yeah. They come up to the top of the water, stick their heads up, get a couple breaths of air, and then go back down. And there was a really big tree that had fallen into the river. And I get up on that tree and go out into the water on the tree. So I'm looking at a downward angle to the water so my bullets won't skip and they'll be more effective. And I just wait. And finally a turtle pops up. It's about the size of a dinner plate, I'm going to say. And I shoot the thing. And he's dead. He's dead. He's just floating there. And I'm like, Woody, I got it. We're going to eat. Run back down to Woody, give him his rifle, and I start swimming across this fucking river. And I'm not a good swimmer. I'm no Woody's gamer tag. So I'm wondering at this point why Woody's gamer tag didn't show off his Aquaman skills and swim that fucking river.
I didn't even see the turtle. This isn't even a confirmed kill. Like I didn't.
I saw the turtle. He was done.
He saw the turtle with the mirage,
Yeah, right. It was next to the fake store. Carry on.
Done. Swim across the river, get over there. The son of a bitch has sank to the bottom. He's gone. And I am exhausted in a way that it's not like being tired. I'm exhausted. I feel like my chest feels hollow.
And
my
he's
stomach
low on
feels
food
hollow.
at this point too. I mean, he ate breakfast and it's probably 7 p.m.
Yeah. So I start throwing up right about then. I threw up a couple times. Crossed the river. It took me much longer to cross the river this time, even though I was waiting. I went upriver where it was more shallow. And from then on, I just really felt like shit. We got back to camp. I laid down on my mat just on the ground. Ticks got all over me. Chiggers got in my legs. Chiggers are like these worms that burrow into your skin. And you want to take it from there?
So let's see. At that point, we went back up. We had a little more shelter to do. I think maybe I worked on the shelter a little bit. I definitely got the fire cooking. And I had this idea that if we could get Kyle warmed up, dry, and rested, that he might, recover to some extent. And there we laid for like the next 6 or 7 hours. It's hard to track time. He kept throwing up. It was like, I don't know how frequent he was throwing up. I'll call it every 40 minutes or so, but it was a lot, right? You know, sometimes productive, sometimes just dry heaving, but the guy was sick, really sick. And,
and it was the bad kind of vomiting. It wasn't like, all right, I'm drunk, let's get all of this out. It wasn't like that. It was like, there's nothing in me, but my body still thinks there's like poison inside of me, and I'm just like retching, and my stomach is just tightening into this ball, and it's really painful. And I'm trying to control my breathing to control the impulse to vomit, and I'm just like, and I know Woody must be thinking, is he gonna die on me?
I was trying to get him better, right? So I did the fire as I said I would. We got that thing started and at an appropriate size, and as it headed into night, it was just like, well, I guess we'll sleep like this. Kyle didn't even sleep in the structure. He just laid out he had a bedroll on the ground. I laid out my bedroll in the structure, which sounds selfish, but trust me, it wasn't any comfy thing. I promise you.
I got the best of it besides the bugs. He was in there rolling around on those sticks.
Oh,
it did not look comfortable.
No. Don't go thinking that I took the prime spot or something. As a matter of fact, many times I was tempted to join him on the ground.
You should have.
Yeah. So I completely lost track of time. I would doze off and then like wake up and the fire needed to be reinvigorated, and I repeated that process. It was probably, would you call it midnight, 1 a.m. ish?
It was exactly midnight
Okay.
when you woke up, and so from my frame of view, I was just lying there with my head on a log as a pillow, staring at the sky up through the pine trees. It was a full moon, but it was cloudy and overcast, so the clouds kind of reflect the moonlight, and everything was lit up almost like dawn. And it started raining.
But that dawn thing is a key, because to me, I thought it was dawn. Like the fire was especially low, like it maybe even gone out, just embers at that point. And I look up and it looks like dawn, and it's starting to rain. So now we're headed into that day 2, the 25-degree freezing rain. And in my head, we need to zoom out of here, or we're staying till Thursday. Those are our choices. And Kyle has not stopped throwing up. So, and the whole thing about the Thursday is, I've been in here when it rains before in that forest, and the flash flooding is ridiculous. There are so many hills that the water all just rushes down quickly, and it floods. It floods hard. You've heard my stories over the roof of the truck before, and I know that we can't cross this river after or during a rain. So it's starting to rain, and I say, Kyle, do you want to go home? Thinking that it's Tuesday morning, but it's not. It's around midnight on Monday.
Yeah, and I'm just like, yeah. Because I was pretty much thinking the same thing. I knew that it was midnight, but I knew that if we didn't go then, the next day was just going to be worse. It was going to be much worse, and I didn't know if I was going to get better or not. So we packed our shit, and we walked out of there, and the walk out of there was miserable for me. I know. Like the pack was like digging into my shoulder, and things weren't packed nearly as well as they were, when we packed them at home. So it was jostling around. Crossed that stupid fucking river at 1 a.m, and like Woody's walking in front of me. I'm holding his pack so neither one of us fall. And got back to his truck. He dropped me at my car.
Wait. I don't think we covered that properly. On the way back, I led the way like the macho fucking man I am. And Kyle did the equivalent of holding my hand. There's a...
Nope.
Yes.
Nope. Not at all.
Kyle's probably feverish and been retching all night. And
There's
Woody's
like
no excuses for the champion.
There's like a handle on the top of my backpack, right? And he is holding on to this thing so that much like
so
he
that
might
you
help,
don't fall in.
so that a little old lady like kind of Kyle, like you might help her cross the street.
I disagree. I was holding onto that backpack because you kept losing your balance, and I wanted to make sure you didn't go down. I could have jogged across that river.
Bullshit. No, this time I had footwear, and I crossed that river like the Aquaman I am. And Kyle held on for dear life so that he didn't get washed downstream.
Not true. Regardless, it's not true. Got back to my car, and I got in some dry clothes that I had in my trunk.
There's a thing.
Oh, is there?
On the way back, so Kyle is, I guess, struggling, Me, I'm fine. It's interesting to me because I haven't eaten in a long time, and the hunger had come and gone. I think even my strength kind of returned after my rest, and there's frogs everywhere. We must have seen like
7.
7? Okay, I was going to say 9, but there's your ballpark. And it's like, dude, we totally could have caught these frogs. They were sitting there. We were walking within 3 feet of them. I think I could have hit them with a stick, killed them, and had a food source. So it's like, we didn't catch the fish, but I think we had figured out how to feed ourselves in terms of frogs' legs.
We definitely had. It was nighttime, and there were just so many frogs in the mud puddles created in the path. And we totally could have grabbed at least 6 or 7 frogs and eaten them. But I was vomiting. I think I threw up two, at least twice on the way out, and then once more when we got to my car. So it was like, if Woody had been like, "Hey Kyle, would you like some frog legs that I just dug out of this cesspool over here?" I'd have threw up on him.
Kyle, so my truck was near the thing because it was like a dirt, like you wouldn't want to take a nice sports car near the campsite. And so we took my truck together, and then I drove him back to his car. He vomits in the parking lot, and then like gives me this cootie handshake as a goodbye.
I don't understand the cootie handshake. I didn't throw up on my hand.
You're sick, though.
That's not how I throw up. Yeah, but where's my hand been?
Attached to your body.
You don't. If you shake hands with sick people, you can get sick.
Yeah, if they have germs on their hand. I had no reason to have germs on my hand.
You're vomiting, and no one knows the cause.
All right, fair enough. He shook my hand like a man, though.
I did. I did. No flinching. No nothing.
Well, he held back a little. He was like, all right.
No. Maybe in the truck later there was a little of this going on. But
some Purell.
Sanitizer.
Yeah, and then I got home around 5 or 6 a.m. the next day.
So I drove. I'm going to say it took me about 3.5 hours to get to Anderson, South Carolina. And that is when I finally had like hunger again. I didn't eat as soon as I got out of there. I waited 3.5 hours, and I stopped at a Jack in the Box, and I got this giant cheeseburger and these curly fries and a Coke. And I was like, this is going to be so good. I started eating it, and I had the worst pain in the roof of my mouth. So it felt like burns. It felt like at least 1st-degree burns in the roof of my mouth. And my eyes were watering, like I was tearing up, and I was like, God, what is this? And I'm like looking I'm like scrubbing the roof of my mouth with like napkins, thinking maybe I don't know, there was something on the food. I took 1 bite of the food. That's all I could eat. And apparently I got a bacterial infection somehow. And that's all worked its way out now. But
I'm sorry. I was going to jump in a quick thing. There was a thought that the water filter didn't do its job, and that's why he got a bacterial infection. And somebody made a post on the subreddit, which got a lot of attention. And then they also made a video, which is what they linked on the subreddit. But that person, while well-meaning, was off target, and he knows that. What he did is he found out that a Brita water filter, like something you might use in your house to filter tap water, doesn't get bacteria out of the lake. But the water filter I bought does. It's specifically for that purpose, for hikers, for unknown water sources like this, like a Life Straw type of filter. Carbon, it had like a ceramic filter, a paper filter, and a carbon filter, and it handled down to like 2 microns. And it specifically calls out that it's for bacteria. And I drank a ton of that same water and didn't get sick at all. My guess is, if it's bacterial, which I don't know, I'm not really a healthcare pro, probably in the swim, maybe he drank some without intending to.
Or in my nose, or in a cut. I had cuts all over me.
These are all good ideas, but I don't think it was the filtered water, because I know I drank like a gallon of that stuff.
Yeah, so I was really bummed out by that. I still feel bad that we didn't get the job done. So we are gonna go again, right?
Yeah, I wasn't so. I wasn't pushing it too hard. Kyle, by his car, as he's vomiting, suggested we do something less extreme. But, look.
But that was pussy, really Kyle, because I was half dead.
Yeah, he didn't have the benefit of reflection, right? Now that he's at home and he's fed again and he's more fully amped, maybe we can give the exact same thing another go. Maybe we.
Oh God, not really. Not that place.
Maybe not.
I just
maybe
feel
not
like that place
river,
doesn't have any. Something about that place, man. Like so like we said, it wasn't squirrel or rabbit season, but after a while of we were working really hard. Like I can go a day without food if I'm chilling at my house, but if you go without a day without food, I'm telling you, what we were doing was strenuous labor. I chopped down 30 or 40 trees by hand with a saw, and I was tying. Regardless, lots of work, and I didn't feel like it. I was just so hungry, so worn out, and I was like, I'm gonna kill some stuff. I was walking around that 22, and I'd have shot anything I saw that looked edible. There were these tiny, like finch type birds in the trees. I'm telling you, these things couldn't have weighed more than an ounce. And I took a pot shot at one way up in a tree. I was like, if he falls, I'm just gonna eat him whole. I'm just gonna like pop this son of a bitch in my mouth like a peep.
like he's one of those peeps. Oh, did you just say Pete from Easter? God damn it, that was the line I was gonna eat.
I'm witty as fuck. You can't keep up with this.
So I could on the second river crossing. Carry on.
So yeah, I was totally ready to massacre some squirrels, rabbits, whatever out of season. I didn't give a fuck. There were no people within miles and miles. We were going to eat those sons of bitches, and I was going to live. But there weren't any. There weren't any. We didn't see one. It was really bad. So I would like to scout the next location. And do you think it's okay to mention who I spoke to last night who said he would be up for the next trip?
Yes, I do think it's okay.
Syndicate. Syndicate told me last night that he would totally be up for the next survival trip.
Yeah. I think that